Hi, this is Beru, and I am going to walk you through healing the Heroic Beth'tilac encounter as a Resto Druid. I am responsible for healing one of the Spiderling caves and its Broodling Soaker for this encounter, so you're going to see me focus a lot on that. As we run in, I'm going to activate Harmony by Swift Mending in the middle of the giant puddle there, and then I'm going to pop a Tranquility right here to help heal through the spit. I do it right at the start of the fight so that it's available 2 more times in the fight. The second time that she spits and then again during the second phase of the encounter. Once that's done, I am going to regrowth my Soaker, and then that's going to activate Nature's Grace, and I'm going to help stabilize the raid until our tank gets up there to sort of stop that spray that Bethtilac has going on. Throughout the first phase of the fight, when she is not spitting on the raid, I am working very fervently here to keep my Broodling Soaker alive. I heal a Moonkin for this, and you can see him right there on the left of the screen. And if any of these broodlings that he pops gets by him, then it's my responsibility to catch them. We have one other person, a mage, that will also catch any that get by me, as well as sort of a backup of a backup. To heal my Soaker, I primarily keep my Life Bloom on him. I keep him rejuved. I will efflorescence under him. I will use a lot of Healing Touch, and I'll use a fair bit of Nourish on him as well. Now, our melee team is coming down here, and Bethtilac is going to start spraying again. In preparation for that, when Bethtilac emotes, I am going to pop into Tree of Life. I'm going to get a Life Bloom on myself in 3 stacks. I'm going to make sure the Life Bloom on my Soaker stays at 3 stacks. And then I'm pretty much going to pump heals into my Soaker using any spare global cooldowns that I might have to Wild Growth on the raid. I will continue to efflorescence under my Soaker if he's taking a lot of broodling damage, just because it's very challenging to keep him up while he's getting hit by the broodlings and Bethtilac is sort of spitting all over the raid here. Once the damage reduces and the tank gets up top, I will, assist with healing the raid with any spare global cooldowns that I can, mostly tossing out a rejuve here or there, while growthing on the raid that's in range. But then I'm focused again here on my Soaker, and he is really my primary responsibility for this fight. So at any point, if his life is in need of more healing, I'm not going to do anything but heal him. It's not so bad because I can keep hot stacked on him, but when he takes 2 or 3 of those broodlings in pretty quick succession, it can get a little scary. So I really do try to make sure that he's always at full health and that I'm healing at full health. Our Bethtilac team just came down again, and she's going to start spraying here, and my Tranquility's up. So I'm going to Tranquility this particular breath, but I make sure that my Broodling Soaker's topped up. I call out and vent to him that I am going to trank, so he knows he's not receiving any direct heals from me. And then I hit my trank and then go back to making sure he's topped off and doing any tertiary healing on the raid that I may have global cooldowns to do. You're going to have seen earlier that I got focused by the drone. That's when the big sort of giant skull and crossbones in my power auras came up. When that happens, that's another time that I communicate to my Soaker that I am going to be closer to the raid and further away from him, so he knows to stand a little further back from the cave so I can still reach him to heal without risk any spiderlings getting to that drone. I actually don't have to pop any spiderlings this particular pull, which is unusual. Usually I have to get a few, but our Moonkin here does a fabulous job at catching every single one of them. Our other 2 Soaker teams do a fabulous job at making sure that none of the ones that are targeting he or I get over to us, and so I actually don't have to do any popping. If I do, it's pretty easy. I'm a fairly mobile healer. I just put myself between the broodling and the rest of the raid in its path and go from there. We're going to go into our final phase here. I just saw our Beth team come down, and for this phase, the primary goal is to get all of those spiderlings down and get all of the broodlings popped. So once that's done, the entire raid is going to group up together. And it's basically a matter of pushing the DPS hard enough that your healers have enough mana to keep you up through this phase. I pop into Tree of Life early here and work on just keeping the raid stabilized. Right now it's sort of mana conservation mode in the healing because the later parts of the healing are going to take a huge toll on everybody's mana pool. Once Beth reaches 20 stacks, we're going to Bloodlust, and it is going to be very challenging to keep up with all the healing. So we cycle through raid cooldowns at that point, and at every sort of pulse she has after 20 stacks, we use some form of raid cooldown to help keep us alive. We start with our Feral and Moonkin Tranks. We then use, I think, a Power Word Barrier, followed by another Power Word Barrier, followed by a raid wall, followed by our Resto Tranks here. So right now I'm sort of in survival mode. I let my life bloom drop a lot here, and I shouldn't. It's something I'm working on doing better. But basically, once we hit that 20 stack mark, I'm going to try to use all of my haste cooldowns so that my wild growth and my rejuves get extra ticks on them. I'm going to efflorescence on cooldown to make sure that, you know, we are going to be able to get as much healing from me as possible. And you can see here we just hit 20 stacks and we're going to start cycling through cooldowns. There go our 2 off-spec Druid's Tranks to help stabilize the raid. And at this point, I'm tossing out as much rejuve as my mana pool will allow me. I'm wild growthing on cooldown. I'm swift mending on cooldown. And there's a little bit of prayer involved, hoping that I can have my mana pool last long enough to get us through Beth's phases here. So after that, it's, you know, really on the DPS to push through her life before your healers push through their mana. You can see here that just about all 6 of our healers are almost bone dry as they try to push through this, as our DPS works really hard to get her down. There's a Spirit Link Totem. I'm going to trank with the Spirit Link Totem to help get our life up while it's evening everybody's life out. You're going to see we have our second Resto Trank that's going to happen there. And like I said, I'm just putting as much rejuve out as I can, wild growthing on cooldown and swift mending on cooldown. I have a real hard time keeping life bloom up in that phase just because I'm so panicked about keeping the raid alive. So that's a point of improvement for me. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know, and thank you very much for watching this guide.